I'm Chris, Brandon, Taylor, and Melanie at the computer. And our project was building a ball loader, a launcher that will launch 3 balls, and we have 1 water bottle to counterweight whatever we wanted to do.
So for our prototype, we pretty much didn't have too many problems. Our basic design is what we used throughout the whole thing. We just ended up adding some rubber band to the arm or launcher, the arm, because it made our ball go a lot farther when it was thrown. But everything else was basically worked out pretty well. We just had to make a few adjustments.
So this is our basic throwing arm that we started out with. It was pretty simple. Basically, catapult idea, use the motor to throw it. Later on, we added some rubber bands to the end to wind it up. Originally, we tried just putting straight rubber bands to get it more power, but it ended up the motor just couldn't handle the rubber band, so we ended up having to go with the wind up rubber band.
So the program we used was just doing both motors on our arm, and we used both motors on the loader, so it's going to load the ball and seize the motor for the rubber bands to wind the rubber bands, and B and C are B's going to launch it, and then we have them both rewinding the arm and the rubber bands at the same time, because if we have them going at the same time, the rubber band is going to hold the arm from going back all the way. And so we had to figure out how to get them to run together. That way the rubber band didn't get bunched up or caught on another piece of the Lego that we had hanging out.
So one of our main challenges is, like a lot of other groups, is just coming up with an idea and a prototype to follow. And then another challenge we had was making it more powerful, because when we had our first launcher, then it wasn't as powerful as we wanted it to be. So we used our rubber band to solve that. And then it was also a challenge to make sure that the motors weren't jamming. And this is our finished throwing arm once we added in the rubber band.
So we used all 3 motors and none of the sensors. Motor A was relatively simple. We used it for the ball loader. When we first tried it, we actually had it going fairly quickly, but we found that would knock the balls off, so we had to slow it down and make it go in a forward reverse basic motion. Originally, I wanted to go in just a circular motion, but we found it was easier just to have it go back and then forward and then backward. Motor B is the throwing arm. Originally, that's all we had powering the thrower, and it would go a fair distance but not very far, and it was basically just go forward and then go back. When we added motor C winds up the rubber bands. We got a lot more power from it, but like Chris said, we had a lot of trouble with the rubber bands getting unwound too much or getting caught on other things, so we had to get motor B and C to work together when they were pulling back. And when we finished our final product, our ball, I brought a tape measure one day to measure it out, and we could hit pretty consistently around 60 inches, so about 5 feet. So we were fairly happy with how far it threw.
Any questions?
Okay, thank you.